All right. The skill is 7th grade geometry, 6th standard, area and volume. What is area? What do you think about when you hear the term area, people? Talk to me.
Inside the shape.
Area measures the inside space of a polygon, or I'll say a figure. Okay? When we think about area, we think about square units, or units squared. When we also think about area, we are measuring a two-dimensional space. Okay? When you think about two-dimensional, think about squares, rectangles, parallelograms, triangles, trapezoids. These are all two-dimensional figures, and of course, circles, which you learned in your last lesson. Okay? They're two-dimensional. So when we're talking about area, think about the inside of a figure. Think about the inside of a figure. When we talk about perimeter, think about the outside of a figure. Typically, area requires multiplication. Okay? Now there's other operations embedded in the skill, but most likely there will be more multiplication. Okay? Let's talk about volume a quick second. Volume measures capacity. When you think about the term capacity, what do you think about? Does the word space come to mind? Does it?
Yes.
To me, kind of references area, doesn't it? Kind of relates to area. Well, it is. Volume measures the amount of cubic units in a three-dimensional space. Okay? That's what volume measures. A cubic unit is a cube with edges 1 unit long. Volume typically measures three-dimensional shapes or spaces. Rectangular prisms are examples of a three-dimensional shape. Understand that cubes also fall in the category of a rectangular prism. Okay? A sphere, a cone, cylinder. All of those are 3D shapes. Okay? They have a length, a width, and a height, or a three-dimensional perspective, viewpoint. You can see it from every side. Okay? And those are examples of 3D shapes. Area and volume just measure the inside capacity or space of two-dimensional and three-dimensional figures. To compute and find area and volume, you basically do it all the same way. That would be our C. How to find area and volume? You do it the same. You do it the same. Am I still recording? First, and this is for both cases, so I'm going to put these steps in the middle. Identify the figure. These steps go both places. You need to first identify the figure. Second, select the formula. And a lot of the shapes we're going to be working with this year, you were exposed to the formulas last year. I'll review them as we approach different shapes, but you need to kind of touch base on where they are or what they are. Step 3, after you've selected the formula, is substitute the given values. These are blanket steps that'll work every time. For area and volume. And then you evaluate, which means to solve. Okay? And step 5 is to express using the appropriate unit of measurement. Remember, area is measured in square units. Volume is measured in cubic units. If you're still confused, the square is the exponent. That's the exponent 2, we say square. The 3 is what we call cube, or cubic. Okay, and we say the word units because we don't have an actual example to compare units of measurement. So if we were doing a word problem or an example and it was measured in inches, then inches would replace the word units, or feet would replace it. But when we're just doing a blanket lesson, talking generally, we use the word units. And those are the 5 steps. Those are the 5 steps. So if I was to find area, your direction said find the area. Here is a rectangle. 16.5 is the length. 2 1/4 is the width. It says find the area. If I follow those steps up top, number 1 says to identify the figure. Well, I know it's a rectangle, so step 2 should be easy. When I select the formula, I know the area is equal to length times width. Do I know the area? No. But step 3 says to substitute the given values. What do they give me? It gives me a length of 16.5. It gives me a width of 2 1/4. Now I know I can't multiply mixed numbers like that. I have to change them to a what? Improper fraction. Okay? I do that by multiplying down here and adding up there. Same deal here. So area is now equal to 33 over 2 times 9 over 4. Okay? I then get 33 times 9. $297 over 8. I can turn this into a division problem. 297 divided by 8. And I get, well, I get 37 and 1/8. I didn't specify that, but we're measuring in inches. So inches squared. What's my eraser? Okay? We started out with a whole bunch of fractions or mixed numbers. I had to convert them to improper fractions, then I could multiply straight across. I ended with that improper fraction and changed it to a mixed number. This also would have worked with decimals. It just would have been a little harder, but it would have worked. So if I'm finding volume, it has to be a three-dimensional figure. Most likely, we'll see more prisms than anything. The difference between a rectangular prism, any rectangular prism, and a cube is that a cube always has the same size edges, whereas a rectangular prism can have various measures. Let's say the height is 1 1/3 centimeters, small box. Let's say the length is 6 1/2 centimeters, and let's say the width is 2 1/4 centimeters. It wants us to find the volume. Well, if we identify the figure, it's a rectangular prism. Now I know the formula. I know the formula is volume equals length times width times height. If I substitute the given values, which is what step 3 says, the length is 6 1/2. The width is 2 1/4. The height, 1 1/3. If I change these to improper fractions, 2 times 6 is 12 plus 1 is 13 over 2. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4 over 3. And if I multiply straight across, 13 times 9, 117 times 4. So I get 468 over 2 times 4, which is 8, times 3 is 24. Oh, I've done that so wrong. You should never have two equal signs on the same line. What did I say that was? 468 over 24. This translates into a division problem. 468 divided by 24. If I do my division, I'm going to just carry it over here. 468 divided by 24. $19.5. You get 19 and 12 over 24, or 19 and 1/2. Okay. Okay. We're just gonna kind of give you a little time to see what I wrote down there, so you can see it a little better. All right.